An excerpt from Ascension, Death by Dream Girl, Part 2 by Andy Nowicki. January 25th. I have opted to keep a record of my thoughts as I embark upon this potentially life-altering, perhaps life-ending endeavor. In a prior document entitled Death by Dream Girl, I observed the effects of a now FDA-approved drug called Muse, which purported to provide lonely men with a needful injection of energy and swagger, to the end that they would find themselves more apt to be romantically successful with the opposite sex. My brief but thorough investigation into men calling themselves incels, or involuntary celibates, among whose number was included a former work acquaintance of mine, and their apparent experiences with this supposed wonder drug at first led me to believe that Muse had indeed turned these men's lives around, to the extent that they had indeed acquired needed confidence, and soon thereafter had managed to find their dream girl. After gaining the company of this much sought-after companion, these men would ecstatically declare that they were no longer forever alone, but had seemingly found a life partner. Thus they happily bid adieu to their lonely days and began a new, brighter chapter in their lives. This wonderful tale apparently repeated itself several times over, based on a large sampling of incel men and the ubiquity of their shared overwhelmingly positive experience caused one to wonder if something could be amiss, if indeed the circumstances, as reported, could prove too good to be true. Sure enough, glitches presently began to manifest in these men's accounts. Most notably, the lovely woman each of them claimed to have met never seemed to show up to demonstrate her tangible presence before others. Much as their smitten boyfriends raved about the wondrous women they had met, exulting in their abundant grace, warmth, and beauty, no one else ever gained the privilege of meeting these alleged dream girls. I eventually came to surmise that the dream girls in question were in fact mere chimeras, hallucinations, perhaps triggered by the Muse, without the knowledge of its takers. This prospect was disturbing enough, but what followed sent shockwaves amongst the families and friends of the Muse takers. It began to be widely reported how many of these users had seemingly disappeared from the face of the earth, eluding the detection of everyone who loved and cared for them. Prior to vanishing, it seemed that each man had written and delivered general letters to his acquaintances, informing everyone in tones quite delirious that he and his highly desirable newly acquired sweetheart intended to, quote, ascend together. This identical word, ascend, was used without fail in every known case. No further explanation was proffered regarding what was meant by this mysterious and vaguely ominous term, but every sent missive notably maintained a relentlessly upbeat tone, betraying joyous determination and a sure conviction that paradise awaited them. Were these Ascension letters in fact suicide notes? None of them spoke of death, though Ascension does have a connotation of passing on, which some take as being synonymous with departure from the living state. However, despite these strange and discomfiting events, to date no bodies of these men have been discovered anywhere. For their part, the pharmaceutical conglomerate which put Muse on the market has referred questions concerning the safety of the drug to their legal department, which in turn has produced a written disclaimer declaring that Muse is a safe and effective medicine, which has undergone a thorough and robust testing process and passed with flying colors. All claims to the contrary, the document threatened, will be treated as libelous and viewed as legally actionable.